This morning, the Adele of audiobooks. That was the name given to Julia Whelan by The New Yorker. She is one of the most famous audiobook narrators in the world, as the business of listening to books instead of reading them keeps rising. But Whelan, a former child actress, is more than just a performer on tape. She's also a writer. She just released her second book called Thank You for Listening. To hear how she does it, we sat down with her and jumped in the booth for some dueling narration at her home in California.
Audiobooks? Roy's eyebrows shot up. Dude, that's my jam.
You have almost certainly heard Julia Whelan's voice before.
Elsa went back to scrubbing the kitchen floor, and then
It's possible she spent extended periods of time in your head.
And as if across miles, she heard Annika Bergstrom say, "Mrs. Abbott?"
She is a trusted companion to millions, bringing spoken performance to the written word.
I know there are those among you who could use some reacquaintance with the language.
I didn't think you were ever going to find me.
Whelan first showed up on camera at 11
Why don't we play a game you want to play?
and was a TV star by 15, acting for 3 seasons in the ABC drama Once and Again.
Mom, you're gonna do what you do anyway, and it's really okay with me, but please don't act like you're giving me some big say in any of it.
Whelan's on-screen work continued before and after college, until it was her work off-screen that took her in a new direction. A producer asked if she wanted to narrate a new suspense novel, Gone Girl.
She sent an email asking if I wanted to do it, but warning me that it was a bit R-rated, which in hindsight is funny because I don't think of that book being that way, but I was recording so much young adult at the time that I think she thought I would say, "Oh, this is a little dark." And instead I was like, "Give it to me."
That's awesome.
I love this so much.
It is dark.
It's so dark, but it's so good.
Gone Girl became a mega bestseller and helped establish Whelan as an audiobook star. Soon she was recording 70 to 80 books a year.
Where would you like me to start? I asked.
Lately, she's dialed her narration back a bit to about 30 books a year, so she can also write. Whelan's latest, which she wrote and recorded, is called Thank You for Listening. It features a fictional audiobook narrator who refuses to do romance books until her life becomes one. Romance books, you might be surprised to hear, make up a third of the global book market.
It's something that people look down on.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't fully understand why romance is taken less seriously than crime or a thriller or a mystery, where you have also rather predictable endings, and they're fan favorites and people read them voraciously, but just doesn't quite get the respect.
Because they can still be written well. I mean,
absolutely, there's great writing.
Yeah.
I cut my teeth on romance. I mean, I read a lot of romance when I was younger. I learned plot from romance writers, dialogue from romance writers. There's really good writing in romance. Here's the booth.
Maybe it's all the sex that can make reading it alone thrilling.
Swanee murmured back with the faintest sensual giggle, maybe lower.
But with an audience, it's a different ballgame.
Or were we reading the super sex time? Okay. Wow, okay, so hold on, let me just...
Why don't you give me your best Brock McKnight voice?
Where would you like me to start?
That's
I
pretty
asked.
good.
Here. I tapped her knee with a hand that wasn't already engaged with her fingers. She shook her head. Maybe higher. I removed my hand from her knee and placed it on her cheek.
Slow down. It's a seduction scene.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I'm seducing.
You're seducing.
It turns out seduction always works better with a partner.
Where would you like me to start? I asked. Here? I tapped her knee with a hand that wasn't already engaged with her fingers. She shook her head.
Maybe higher?
I removed my hand from her knee and placed it on her cheek. I slid my fingers under her chin and gently raised her head.
That's good.
So we looked each other in the eye.
Yes.
High enough?
Swanee murmured back with the faintest sensual giggle. Maybe lower.
That was good.
Thanks, right?
Yes. You're good at this. Do you like doing the sex?
Once I got it into my head that that's really what it is, that it's just a climactic scene in a book, it was easier for me to perform. And I do find It's so hard to do this without everything sounding euphemistic. I do find satisfaction in these scenes being well performed because here's the thing about romance. Like I think that in romance specifically, the sex scenes and the sexual encounters are the turning points in the relationship. So that's where the characters learn something. That's where they grow. That's where they change.
But you're saying a lot of stuff that's like...
I know, I saw you laugh at grow.
Well, you can't help. I mean,
can't
like,
help
it's
it.
hard. I mean, like, everything you say can be taken a different way.
Yes. Yes.
Ha! He finger-gunned her.
Usually, Whelan doesn't need a companion narrator.
And then, you famous too?
She does men's voices,
A fair bit of overlap in my experience.
kids' voices,
Do you often find yourself working with Navy SEALs?
When I was 12, I was obsessed.
and every kind of accent.
Bloody hell! You'll be a grampy soon.
What's your favorite accent?
Well, it depends. I mean, I think that I have a lot of fun with regional American accents.
What's your favorite word to pronounce?
Oh, that's a good question. I definitely know the words I don't like to pronounce. The one that trips me up, which should not trip me up, but midnight, always coming in the middle of a sentence, I know, but coming in the middle of a sentence, it's like I can't get my mouth around the M, and I will almost always, yeah, now try it.
Midnight.
It somehow gets like swallowed in my throat a little bit.
Maybe you should reconsider becoming a journalist. I feel like romance novels are your true calling.
How do you read and talk that much every day and never lose your voice?
Well, this is part of the doing fewer books thing. I mean, I have extensive theatrical vocal training, so I know how to be good to my instrument. And I hit a wall one year where I had to go on vocal rest for a month, and that was kind of the wake-up call. That was like, this isn't good.
Green apples.
Green apples.
Why do green apples help?
No one knows. That's not true. Probably watch all of the viewers would be like, I know. I don't know. I think it has something to do with tannins. It has something to do with the acidity. I mean, apples in general, apple pulp is always good for vocal health, but green apples particularly just crisp everything up.
Whew.
Wow.
Jeffrey, Todd.
I feel like I know you
I know.
in a very different way that I was not expecting.
My Brock McKnight.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very cool.
She reached over and grabbed the apple.
Please do the rest of the show that way.
We've got some green apples for you from Brock.
How about them apples?
To enjoy, which now that we're at the end of the show and your voice doesn't need to be as strong. But anyway, so green apples work great. She does not have dairy, any dairy or milk products on days she records. So,
Well,
thank you, Julia. The book, thank you for listening, is great.
next.
Others jotting down notes. Everybody's in despair. Every girl and boy.
Well, I have to tell you, that was an incredible story. It took me in so many different ways, I can't even say. I learned so much. This is a really good tip, though.
Eating apples? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep that in mind. I'm sorry, I still can't get over how, should we have gotten an NC-17 rating?
It was morning television, Jeffrey.
I'm certainly awake.
I was really nervous going in there. I mean, you know, because it's her place, right? And yes, I track stories and track pieces all the time. But it was her environment. We actually ended up tracking a different story from her booth. You know, I track stuff from home all the time. But I was nervous, but she was very helpful in sort of coaching me through it.
It looked like it was a blast, I have to tell you. And just, you were it was like cute seeing you embarrassed, a little, you know.
A little blushing.
Yes.
You know, it's also, it's a real art form what she does, because she is delivering something, but you don't want to get lost in someone saying, oh, I'm narrating something. And her voice is so soothing and lyrical at the same time.
And she does so many different voices, the accents, everything else. I mean, she really, you know, she performs this work. And what's even more impressive is that she has to read it first by herself and mark it up and think about the accents and the voices and everything else. And then she reads it out loud. And you're talking about 70 or 80 books a year?
Yeah, now we're cutting those in half.
Yeah.
I could talk about her forever.